Yes, that's
May I now invite the head of department to kindly deliver the welcome address.
that was really a rush. Thank you so much, Loretta. Very good afternoon to each and every one of you present here. Deep sense of gratitude to Professor Gassah for sparing your time to be with us, to talk to us, to share with us on a very important topic, that is the Hill State movement and the birth of Meghalaya. We welcome you, sir. Thank you so much for accepting our request. Very happy, very fortunate to have my own teacher, Professor David R. Seamlin. So thank you so much. I know that you were very busy right from the morning. Sir was in a different meeting. I requested him to please free himself to come, and true enough, 12:30 he was already in the department. Thank you so much, sir. Sir has served this university in different capacities. Sir had been working outside as a Vice Chancellor of other universities. He was also there as Chairperson of UPSC. I would like to request you, sir, sometime when you are free to just come and meet the students of the department, have a word with them, encourage them about the kind of possibilities which they can venture into the administrative services and things like that. We would like to have a word from you, sir. That will be sometime this year. I also like to welcome Professor Gassah, our finance who have been with us for many years, who have shared your experience with the students. Thank you so much for being here, and of course not forgetting our colleagues from the department with Professor Thakur, Professor Aparna Mathur, Professor Manarajan, Dr. Datta, and also I also take this opportunity to welcome the head of Department of Philosophy, Professor Prasenji, Dr. Shukalpa, Professor Shukalpa, sorry, and not forgetting a very close friend, the head of the Department of Sociology, Professor Rekha Shamden, and also, of course, to all our students, friends who are gathered here. I welcome the research scholars. Thank you so much for being here. The third semester students and also the first semester students. I expected more of you to be around, but then we will get into that Monday. The thing is, this is not my time really to talk. Okay? Today is the day where Professor Gassah
And mentors whose contributions to education and public life in Northeast India are truly remarkable. Professor Gassah was a professor of political science at Northeastern University, NEHU, and is currently a professor at the postgraduate department of political science, where he dedicated decades of life to scholarship and teaching at Singapore College. Through his many writings, he has shed light on areas that often.
I have missed out on someone. I would like to welcome Professor Marco Vitri and also Dr. Gundala from the Department of History. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all of you. Dr. Simli, Professor Amena Gassah, and other colleagues from the other departments of NEHU. I feel a little bit nervous because my batchmate is here, Professor David. We were the first batch of political science and history way back in 1974. Some of you might not have been born during that period of time, but at least your parents were born. So I was in NEHU for 42 years. I spent my life here, 2 years as a student of political science, and 40 years I was teaching in the Department of Political Science, and I'm still teaching now in the postgraduate department of Shillong College as what should I say, monthly wage earner. And I'm here not to tell you anything about history, not to teach you history, but I'm here to make history. If I'm not mistaken, perhaps this is the first time that I have been able, that I have given this privilege to talk to the teachers as well as also the students of history. I realized during my last month, 14th of June, I completed 47 years of continuous teaching at the postgraduate level. And I realized that teaching teachers is the most difficult thing to do. Friends, let me go back a little bit to my school days. I read history in the true sense of the term, in the true sense of the discipline of history, only up to class 10. When I appeared my matriculation examination, history was the last paper, and I answered all the 5 questions in history. Then I realized that I had a few minutes to look back into my answer script. I found that looking into my answer script, I have been able to write 15 pages. Average 3 pages in for 1 question. We have to answer 5 questions. Now, out of these 15 pages, I realized after becoming a teacher that the examiner did not look into or did not even examine my script. He or she just flipped into the pages and found that I have been able to write 15 pages, and so therefore this fellow should be given 51 marks. I did not know that, otherwise I should have scribbled something to make it 16 pages to score 61 marks. That's the last part that I have been able to read history. When I joined the university, I never taught in a college. I never taught the undergraduate. I came straight to teach the postgraduate. Professor David Stanley at least went 1 year to St. William's College, and I came straight to teach in the NEHU, in the postgraduate department. During that period of time, it's just a simple NA. And having taught most of the time the Northeast politics, you have to have the interdisciplinary approach. And so therefore I have to read history, I have also to read sociology, anthropology, especially social anthropology, as well as also political science. And I did that because also another opportunity given to me. I was rejected by the head of the Department of Political Science at that period of time for any kind of admission for research. I asked him for admission. He said, no, we don't have any program, but he admitted another classmate of mine. So what to do? I went to the Department of Sociology and Anthropology, the Department of Sociology and Anthropology was one combined department at that period of time. Later on, they got divorced and separated. MPhil degree in Sociology and Anthropology, and that helped me a lot because of those teachers who really taught me, especially about research methodology. Now, coming to the present discussion, it has been written here as Hill State Movement and the birth of Meghalaya. I'll try to, because I know that I'm speaking to the teachers of history and others, especially to the students of history, I'll try to arrange my lecture in a chronological order and try to tell you something which perhaps many of you might not have seen. And I request the students, therefore, because in most of the time when you listen to the popular lectures, you don't take your notes. If you have any papers, just scribble something so that it will become a kind of data, a kind of information for you and also for your studies. Now, first of all, let me go back to the period of what had happened in the state of Meghalaya, or at that time it was just Khasi and Jandi Hills and Garo Hills. And also at the same time what happened to the then undivided state of Assam, because the whole of Northeast India at that period of time was under one umbrella, and that was the state of Assam. Now, let me take you back to what had happened immediately after 1947. Now, after 1947, there was the interim government of India under the Prime Ministership of Jawaharlal Nehru. And Jawaharlal Nehru did think something about what to do with the areas in what we call today the northeastern region. And Jawaharlal Nehru and his colleagues, therefore, they thought of something to offer to the people of the northeastern region during that period of time. And let us not forget also that the whole state of Assam was under the administration of the Indian National Congress at the central level, government of India as well as also in Assam. The approach towards Assam and also the hill tribal areas was initially not to disintegrate Assam. He did not want to disintegrate Assam, meaning thereby that it will disturb the role played by the Indian National Congress. It will also disturb about the role of the government of Assam during that period of time. And so therefore, nothing should be done with the disintegration of Assam. But then, what next? Without going into other details, the initial movements for autonomy started even during that period of time. The Nagas had already started in the 1950s, followed by the other areas in the 1960s onwards. Now, Nehru and the Indian National Congress leadership immediately realized this kind of the wind of political movements all over Northeast India. And so therefore they thought that they had something to do with a kind of autonomy to be granted to the people of the northeastern region, especially the hill areas. But Nehru, back at his mind, did not want to disintegrate Assam. And so therefore, if he and also his cabinet colleagues did not favor this idea of disintegration of Assam, then there must be something that should be done to the people of, especially the hill areas of Northeast India. At some point of time, Nehru even offered his idea of giving them autonomy and even quantified that kind of autonomy. He said, I'll give you 90% autonomy, but don't disintegrate Assam. Later he raised that and quantified it into 100% autonomy, but also with a request not to disintegrate Assam. In the meantime, the interim government of India set up a subcommittee, popularly known as the Borderline Subcommittee. I'm happy that I have a copy of the undergraduate syllabus of history with me, and I have seen that they have also mentioned Borderline Subcommittee, its recommendations, and also the Sixth Schedule to the Constitution of India. This is a very dear kind of topic to me, because I have talked a lot about the Borderline Subcommittee recommendations leading to the introduction or incorporation of the Sixth Schedule to the Constitution of India. And I realized that the undergraduate syllabus of History Department is much better than political science. If you look into the syllabus of political science undergraduate, you'll find there are many things, and most of the books which have been put there in the list have nothing to do with the topics in the as suggested in the syllabus. And in this way, therefore, Borderline Subcommittee, in some books you'll find that they have mentioned Borderline Committee, but it was only a subcommittee, because there was another subcommittee meant for the western part of India. And so therefore, the Borderline Subcommittee was known as the Borderline Subcommittee because its chairman was the Premier of Assam, Gopinath Borderline, at that period of time. And there were other members like Reverend J.J.M. Colsoy and other members. And this subcommittee was supposed actually to go to different areas of Northeast India, to different tribal communities of Northeast India, and also collect data, collect information, especially about the working and functioning of the traditional institutions. I mean, the members of the Borderline Subcommittee, they did come to Northeast India, they did go to some of the places in Northeast India, but they have not been able to go to many areas. And so therefore, when they came back, they sent their recommendations to the Constituent Assembly of India. And that is very interesting to read the debates in the Constituent Assembly on the basis of the recommendations of the Borderline Subcommittee. And the debates took place 3 continuous days, 5th, 6th, and 7th September 1949. And if you have time, read that. You can find the debate in another book edited or written by V.J. Hansaria. You'll find the entire debates of the Constituent Assembly. And there you can actually realize, the kind of thinking, especially the 2 members of the Constituent Assembly from Assam. And what did they express? The kind of opinions they have given. That if the Sixth Schedule is granted to, say for example, the Khasi and Jani Hills and Garo Hills district at that period of time, these people will join Tibet. Is it possible for us right here in Shillong to go to Tibet and join Tibet? He said these people will not join India. If they don't join Tibet, they will join Burma at that period of time. Or last, they will join China. Chaudhary, one of the members of the Constituent Assembly, he said, we want to assimilate these people. We have not been given the opportunity to assimilate them during the time of the British. Then he pointed to Dr. Ambedkar He said, now even in the new constitution of Dr. Ambedkar, we will not be given this opportunity to assimilate these people. Then the concept of assimilation is very interesting part, but Rohini Kumar Chaudhary wanted to do that. Now, to be brief, the recommendations of the Borderless Subcommittee, most of the recommendations were accepted, and you can read the recommendations of the Borderless Subcommittee in the book written by Venkata Rao, A Century of Tribal Politics, 1847 to 1974 or something, a thick book. There you'll find all the recommendations. And if you have friends you have teachers of you who are teaching undergraduate, they can refer to that book. Because you have to, they have actually to mention one of the, she's here in the morning, teaching in the undergraduate, they can take up that information. And so therefore, after most of the recommendations of the Borderless Subcommittee were accepted by the members of the Constituent Assembly, then it was included in a particular schedule in the Constitution of India, known as the Sixth Schedule to the Constitution of India. I'm not going to discuss in detail about that. Chaudhary, one of the members of the Constituent Assembly, he said, we want to assimilate these people. We have not been given the opportunity to assimilate them during the time of the British. Then he pointed to Dr. Ambedkar. He said, now even in the new constitution of Dr. Ambedkar, we will not be given this opportunity to assimilate these people. Then the concept of assimilation is very interesting part, but Rohini Kumar Chaudhary wanted to do that. Now, to be brief, the recommendations of the Borderless Subcommittee, most of the recommendations were accepted, and you can read the recommendations of the Borderless Subcommittee in the book written by Venkata Rao, A Century of Tribal Politics, 1847 to 1974 or something, a thick book. There you'll find all the recommendations. And if you have friends you have teachers of you who are teaching undergraduate, they can refer to that book. Because you have to, they have actually to mention one of the, she's here in the morning teaching in the undergraduate, they can take up that information. And so therefore, after most of the recommendations of the Borderless Subcommittee were accepted by the members of the Constituent Assembly, then it was included in a particular schedule in the Constitution of India, known as the Sixth Schedule to the Constitution of India. I'm not going to discuss in detail about that. The Sixth Schedule to the Constitution was incorporated into the Indian Constitution, and what was the result? The autonomous district councils were introduced in certain hill areas of northeast India. The then united Khasi Jaintia Hills Autonomous District Council, Karo Hills Autonomous District Council, earlier it was known as the Mikir Hills and the Karbi Anglong Autonomous District Councils, and the Lushai Hills Autonomous District Council. Now, so this kind of autonomy was district autonomy. But what happened after the autonomous district councils as district autonomy were granted to the people? Some of you might have read about that, known as the Conference of the Chief Executive Members of the Autonomous District Councils. Now, Captain Williamson Sangma was the first Chief Executive Member of Garo Hills Autonomous District Council. Later on, he became the first Chief Minister of Meghalaya. He convened a meeting of the Chief Executive Members of all the Autonomous District Councils in Northeast India. way back in 1954. Now, I'm not going into the detail of this, but I want you to know about the two important resolutions which were resolved during the conference of the chief executive members of these autonomous district councils. One of the resolutions that was passed in 1954 was an immediate demand for amendment of certain provisions of the sectional. Why? Because Captain Williamson Samba himself said that the autonomy granted to certain hill areas of northeast India was not autonomy in the true sense of the term. That's why he demanded, and also put it as part of the resolution, as one of the resolutions to demand immediate amendment to certain provisions of the sectional. The second resolution was more important and also related. It is also related to what we are going to talk today. The second resolution was demand for a separate state. After some of the areas had been given this what may be called as the district autonomy, and also the demand for the frontier state for many of the areas in northeast India. In 1960, a strong regional political party known as the All-Party Hill Leaders Conference, or in short FHLC, was formed. And the members of the FHLC led this movement for separation, for reorganization of the state of Assam. Then in 1968, another strong regional political party was formed, known as the Hill State People's Democratic Party, or the Hill State Hill State People's Democratic Party, or HSPDP. Now, if you promise me not to tell anything outside this hall, then I'll tell you something. The critics of the founder president of the HSPDP, or the Hill State People's Democratic Party, was Whooping Stone. And so therefore his critics would extend this abbreviation HSPDP into Whooping Stone Personal Democratic Party. But he did a lot to the party. He was not only the founder president, but he did a lot. Then what happened? These two political parties, to my understanding and to my analysis, and most of the people, if you read those books, they gave the credit to the FHLC for the formation of the state of Meghalaya. Now, for the students of history, let me also insist on this. As far as Meghalaya is concerned, you should always write formation. Formation of the state of Meghalaya. It's not the creation, it's not the establishment. Now, the other day I checked again in the Act of 1969 and also checked in the Act of 1971. They wrote the word formation. If you want to just see the differences, you look into Manipur, you look into Tripura. They did not use the word formation. As far as Manipur and Tripura, these two states are concerned, they use the word establishment. Why? Because Manipur and Tripura were the princely states, later on they became the union territories. And so therefore in 1972, when they were granted statehood, it was mentioned as establishment of the state of Manipur and the state of Tripura. But as far as Meghalaya is concerned, the word formation is always written there. And to my understanding, therefore, it was not only the FHLC which was responsible for the formation of the state of Meghalaya, the HSPDP should also be given this credit, leading to the formation of the state of Meghalaya. Why? The HSPDP, under the leadership of Shillong, never accepted the name Meghalaya. Now, when the autonomous state of Meghalaya in 1917 was formed, then they invited what should be the name of the state. That paper clipping, I kept it somewhere but I lost it. Some people, they have suggested many names. What should be the name of the new state? One fellow wrote and suggested that the name of the new state should be Kahajaika. I don't know how many of you have seen that. I have that with me, but I lost. He said the new state should be named Kahajaika. Kaha for Khasi Hills, Jai for Giant Hills, and Ga for Garlics. So, now look, as a student of political science, I look into the present situation in Meghalaya. Look at our state, Kahajaika. Or if you don't want to write, you don't want that, you use the Latin word, Copernicus. It's not it. And therefore, anyway, S.P. Chatterjee came out with a beautiful name, said Meghalaya, the abode of clouds. And it was accepted, but with the HSPDP, they never accepted that. And during the time when Mrs. Indira Gandhi came to Shillong to inaugurate the autonomous state at Garrison Ground, I used to pass through that road every day. Mrs. Indira Gandhi, as the Prime Minister of India, came to inaugurate the autonomous state of Meghalaya at Garrison Ground. You know what the HSPDP members did? They organized a black flag demonstration. And not only that, they organized a black flag demonstration, but they did something else which you may not find in some of the books, because some of the people who wrote about that period of history, they might not have observed. The members of the HSPDP dragged from Barabajan a coffin. And inside the coffin, in bold letters, they wrote autonomous state. And they wanted to show to Mrs. Indira Gandhi that they did not accept the autonomous state, and that's why it was put under the coffin. If the Nagas, if you know, that Angami Sapofisoro went out of India in a coffin. I don't know how many of you knew that. And after his death, somewhere in London, he came back to Kohima again in a coffin. Anyway, the HSPDP did that as far as the autonomous state is concerned. And so therefore, I mean, to my understanding, the HSPDP also should be given a credit to the formation or the birth of the state of Meghalaya. Now, a little bit, if you go back, Nehru not only offered them through the borderline subcommittee, the autonomy under the Autonomous District Council, but he also brought at least two plans, two proposals to be accepted by the members of the FHLC and not to reorganize Assam. One of the suggestions given by Nehru was to offer them what is known as the Scottish Pattern Land. He borrowed that. You know, we Indians, we are very good in borrowing some other people's ideas. He borrowed that from the British Parliament and how the British Parliament administered Scotland. So he brought the Scottish Pattern Plan and offered them to the leaders of the FHLC to be brief The members of the FHLC read the Scottish Pattern Plan carefully. But before their rejection, they gave it a new name. They did not call it Scottish Pattern Plan, but they called it Skirt Pattern Plan. It's neither a skirt nor a pattern. Pattern, you understand, the trousers. It's neither a skirt nor a pattern. We cannot put on this kind of thing. Meaning that we cannot accept that kind of autonomy. And so therefore Nehru offered another plan known as the Nehru Plan. He could not see whether the Nehru Plan was accepted or not, because he died on 27 May 1964, and therefore the next Prime Minister, Lal Bahadur Shastri, was supposed to carry on with the Nehru Plan. And before the death of Nehru, then there was another commission which was set up, and that was the Pataskar Commission. Many recommendations were given by the Pataskar Commission, and after the Pataskar Commission, you find so many other commissions, so many other proposals, like the Tagalog Singh Plan, the Chavan Plan, and the Federal Plan, and so many other plans. All these plans, all these proposals were either rejected by the FHLC and the HSPDP, as well as also by the government of Assam. Now, on this basis, therefore, it led to the birth of Meghalaya, especially after the government of Assam passed the Assam Official Language Act of 1960. That the best way would be to get out of the state of Assam. And therefore, the Assam Official Language Act, which was passed in 1960, was one of the foundations that led even to the birth of the state of Meghalaya. So therefore, there are many other such things by which, if we look back into what happened in the history of the state of Meghalaya, especially to the political developments, the historical and political developments that led to the formation of the birth of the state of Meghalaya, there were many things. And as a student of political science, it is interesting to note that if there are those problems, then I can do my research, I can get my MPhil, I can get my PhD, but if everything goes smoothly, what to do, there's no problem to be discussed. So therefore, there are those certain things like, for example, the Assam Official Language Act of 1960, leading to the birth of the state of Meghalaya, the pressure given by the HSPDP to the FHLC to hasten the formation of the state of Meghalaya, the contributions contributed by the FHLC and the HSPDP leading to the birth of the state of Meghalaya, and the two reorganization acts which were passed. Most of even the teachers, they forgot about a very important act, and that was the Reorganization Act of 1969. Many I have seen in many syllabi, they have mentioned only the Act of 1971. But what happened to the Act of 1969? The students may not be able to understand why they have to read 1971 Act without reading about the Act of 1969, which actually resulted into the formation of the autonomous state of Meghalaya. Also responsible, leading to the birth of the state of Meghalaya, as well as also the Northeastern Areas Reorganization Act of 1971, which led to the full-fledged state of the state of Meghalaya. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
We now
definitely. Yeah, if you have any questions, not only on what I have told you, but on any other questions, especially on Northeast politics.
Yeah, it's open for discussion, so yes, please.
Thank you very much.
I'm scared.
No, nothing scared. Just to ask you some of the little details because we were very small. We heard it from our parents what was happening. So between 1970 to 1972, those two critical and crucial years, there were a lot of negotiations. It's not just the Language Act of Assam, but there was a difficult negotiation that was happening between the state of Assam and the agitating organizations here. You see in that process of agitation, there was a lot of animosity that was suddenly created, and then that animosity was subsided. It was not subsiding so easily. So central government was playing a different kind of a role, Assam government was playing another kind of role, and agitating bodies were expecting fair treatment from both, which was not coming forth. So will you tell us something about those 2 years, how this situation was in Shillong and in the larger governments as well in Tura?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. If anybody else would like to ask a similar question to that. Okay,
we'll take one at a time.
Okay. Thank you very much for the question. Between 70 and 1972, there were many such movements, especially the movements for separation from the state of Assam. I remember, as Prof has mentioned, that in 1917, the Khasi, Jaintia, and also the Garo people, they were given the autonomous state, a state within the state of Assam. They were not very happy with that. And so therefore, there was not much animosity because even the state of Meghalaya was formed, as many people have mentioned, without a drop of blood being shed. But the pressure, I could see the pressure, especially from the HSPDP on the FHLC, led to the kind of understanding between or rather among the people of Khasi, Jaintia, and Garo Hills, and also with the government of Assam. Then the government of Assam realized that they will not be able to keep the people of Khasi, Jaintia, and Garo Hills within the state of Assam. They may not have, want to be separated because the capital of the state of Assam was still there, still here in Shillong. And so therefore, slowly therefore, they have to give to the people of Khasi and Jaintia, because they realize, especially the kind of positive leadership given by the FHLC as well as also the pressure being put by the HSPDP. So there was not much animosity. It was a sort of, in one sense, we can say a cordial kind of relationship based on the kind of constitutional movements which took place during that period of time.
Very good informative lecture. This is Jubilee, faculty from State Department. I have a small query. When I was going through the history of the state movement, Karbis, Dimasas, they also contributed a lot for the APHL's movement. And what happened to these two communities by 1972? So they are also fighting against Assamese hegemony, especially Assamese language imposition. And they are very much in favor of each state. But what happened by 1972? They were not part of the yield state formation. Here, just I want to add, Did any religion play an important role or not? Just I want to know this. Religion. Religion. Yes.
Yes, initially, as you mentioned, the people of Karbi Anglong and also North Gassah Hills, Dimahasa, yes, they went together with the FHRC demanding for a separate state. But when the full-fledged state of Meghalaya was formed, they were given the option. Either they can remain within the state of Assam, or they can opt to be with the state of Meghalaya. Now, the state of Assam, the political leaders in Assam, they sense the kind of situation that they might have lost many things if the people of North Gassah Hills, the people of Meghalaya Hills or Karbi Anglong join Meghalaya. And so therefore, what the government of Assam did, they promised that the government of Assam promised them so many other things in order to tell them remain within Assam and not to join this new state of Meghalaya. That's why, because of these promises, political promises, and so many other things, they finally decided to remain within Assam. Now you look into, later on, you look into the Dimahasa Autonomous District Councils. You look into the other Autonomous District Council. And it had been given many other things by which even the Autonomous District Councils and the Jubilee. Why did the state government of Assam do that? It was because to keep them within the state of Assam. And that's why, yes, initially they were very much happy that a new state would be formed. But finally they decided not to come to Meghalaya, not to join Meghalaya, but to remain in Assam in order to enjoy the spoils of the government of Assam.
I don't have a question, but two information pieces of information. One, it may not be known, but the Department of History has several files on the HLC, and these files should be located, and perhaps somebody would do an editing on the contents of these files, and then take a note of it. And secondly, you were right by saying that there was no animosity in this, and that it was a very peaceful movement. The Northeast Archives in St. Anthony's College has made a collection of documents on the Hill Street movement, and they've even recorded some of the songs that were sung while the protesters or participants in the movement walked the streets of Shillong. And these are new sources. So, though the history that is being narrated by Professor Gassah goes back to 1971, 72, new material is emerging, and it would be useful. It would be encouraging if somebody could rework what others have written. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Gassah, for your very enlightening and always thought-provoking and humorous deliberation and deliveries of any talks of yours. You've given valuable insights which I think for future students of the history movement can add into the body of their text. And as you said, regarding the oral traditions, the use of songs, Bansham Abdullah, who's here, he did his medical under me, and he was able to bring out the social history of this movement, incorporating the songs. But I'm very happy that with his continuation of his PhD, he'll be able to bring so much more. And I was very intrigued by the time is given, so we can go back into that and see whether they really are applicable. It's very applicable right now. Meghalaya, where are you going with our course today? Thank you so much.
Much for your. So one of the issues that you did highlight is the fact that it was a very, very peaceful movement. But one of the things that I really wanted to know, were there moments of possibilities where the movement it could have taken a more militant turn? Was there possibilities of violence which were actually not explored insofar as movement is concerned?
Well, if you go back into that part of history, there was not much of that kind of opportunity. Because we did not have any kind of leadership, say for example, in the stature of Angami Sapu Friso or Laudina in Kasi Jandi Hills as well as also in Garo Hills. And that's why it was more constitutional than looking into the other alternative kinds of movements. And that's why it was mostly peaceful.
Thank you, sir. I could not hear the entire discussion. You have taught me. No, sir, you have taught me, so I learned many things from you, and it's so nice to see you back here. In the context of the next question and your response, I just want to add one point that in 1962 when China had attacked India, there was a discussion within the agency and one section of the leadership. They wanted that this is the time when the Indian state is very vulnerable. It is very vulnerable, so why not go for direct action? It is the time when we can apply our pressure tactics and force them and coerce them into giving us whatever we are wanting to achieve. Okay, so that was only one point of view. But eventually when they had discussions within the party leadership, they decided against it. So, along with the rest of the country, the agency leaders and all their followers, they also decided to be part of the war efforts which were going on at that point of time. They decided to support the state, Indian state in these war efforts. So even though there was this difference of opinion initially, that why not go for direct action right now? Okay? Eventually, reason prevailed and rationality prevailed, and they did not go for that. So this is one aspect that I think as students of history, I think you need to keep note of.
Yeah, thank you. That might be one of the reasons why then it died down. And a simple example, if you look back into the contributions made by the other groups joining the FHLC during that time, especially in the Hill State movement, why did the Mizo Union leave FHLC? They left after the war, the Indo-Chinese War of 1962. The Mizo Union leaders, they wanted, they said, war or no war, we are going to continue the fight. Meaning, therefore, even use other militant tactics. But the leaders of the FHLC did not agree with that. They said, the war is there, and so therefore let us stop our war. And I think if they did not do that, then it might have led to some other military. And so that's why there was a kind of misunderstanding between the leaders of the Mizo Union. Of course, finally they left the FHLC. And that is one of the reasons why the leaders of the FHLC, they might have discussed, as rightly pointed out, but they did not agree to take that.
Looking at the current context of all the issues that people have been shouting, problems of borders between Meghalaya and Gassah, who actually was given the task to chart out the demarcation of territory for Meghalaya state? And was it that loose? I mean, it has not really been established that demarcation lines of Meghalaya and Gassah. That's not the accusation made by these pressure groups and all these, which is an issue currently still not solved.
Yeah, on this boundary or on this border issue, which is still very much alive today, many people they criticize the British administrators. But let us not go back to that period. But when Meghalaya was formed, unfortunately, they were more interested sharing of the offices. They forgot about their boundary. Now, and so there was not much attention being paid to the boundary, and that's why the government of Assam, even during that period of time, they had very far-sighted officials. Now, somebody told me that most of the files, even in the Assam Secretariat, which was situated in Shillong at that period of time, they took away those files relating to boundary lines, relating to border issues. They took those files to dispose. And when the government of Meghalaya realized that, they sent their officials to dispose. But the government of Assam and also their officials, they had already cut those portions. So they opened the files, but they did not find anything. Secondly, the Chandrachud Committee, I don't know whether you have heard about it. The Chandrachud Committee was appointed to decide on the boundary issue between Assam and Meghalaya. And when the members of the Chandrachud Committee were sitting, they looked into the papers. Actually, the government of Assam had been able to display all the necessary documents, but not Meghalaya. So therefore, the Chandrachud Committee therefore decided in favor of the state of Assam, because the Meghalaya could not actually provide those papers. That is one thing why that. And also at the same time, even later on, they have not been able. But we have the maps that I have the opportunity to look into the materials of the Khasi Hills Autonomous District Council. They have 2 volumes relating to the boundary issues. But I don't know why they have not made use of those. And so therefore, it was the failure and also the lack of any kind of farsightedness to the political leaders of Meghalaya. That's why the government was. Now look what the government of Assam did even recently. Now if you look into Lampi area, now who are the people there? They are mostly the Nepalese.
Thank you, sir, for that very insightful lecture. I'm Pashan Harumar, this is from the Department District. So 2 queries following up on what you have touched. You have mentioned that in 1954, Captain Williams Samna had called for a meeting of all the chief executive members. So, sir, as far as we understand, this hill state was supposed to have incorporated all hill areas of erstwhile Assam. So, of course, you have touched on the Gandhi issue which Professor Lamare had asked. Now, why did it come to limit only to the Khasi and Garo hill areas? So, and secondly, following up on what Professor Mintri also has said, the border issue which we see today between Assam and Meghalaya, between Mizoram and Assam. So, would you say that state was carved out of what the district had already been demarcated? Because the Khasi Jagga Hills was a conglomerate district and the Garo Hills was a conglomerate district. So would you say, sir, that the districts were left as they were and the boundaries that had already been drawn were just given to the new state which was named Meghalaya? So these are my 2 queries.
I'll take you back to what the earlier demand that was made, and that was for the frontier state. Now the frontier state was meant to include all the hill districts. At that time, most of the states today we have, the full-fledged states, they were only the districts within the undivided state of Assam. But then there were many other opinions given by, say for example, by the Naka political leaders. And later on, as I was just telling you about what happened after the 1962, the Mizo Union, the political leaders of Mizoram, they also left. And also they left the FLC. The FLC, initially the FLC consisted of almost all the regional political parties, or if you don't want to call them regional political parties, but the pressure groups from all over northeast India. But one after the other, they left the all-party Hill Leaders Conference. Now what remained from 1960 onwards till 1976, the FHLC and the members of the FHLC consisted of only of the Khasi, the Giantess, and also of the Garments. Now, in 1976, that's another important milestone in the history of Meghalaya. Captain Williamson Sangma convened a meeting of the MLAs of Meghalaya. And in the, you don't have a chalk here.
What is the logical reason for this two dispute area? That is one. Why it was named as Papua in today's Papua context?
Almost whether it is block 1 or block 2.
Was it prior to becoming independent? Was it because they were dissatisfied with the interstate boundary situation between Meghalaya and Assam?
No more question. Let us give a big round of applause. Information from Loretta, who's also conducting this entire program. Let me just have a quick sum up of this, and then we'll go into the next thing. Let's you see, teacher is the teacher always, and Professor Gassah really proved himself to be a very good teacher by addressing us in such a way, and there was never really a dull moment with whatever that he had to share with us. He even managed to, thank you so much for this pen, Bacha. So I was able to scribble a bit there. Very quickly, I was just noting down a few things that Sir have said, and let this be a kind of a takeaway from this gathering. I'm immensely benefited by this. Thank you so much, sir. Sir has stressed on one very important aspect, and especially for us as students of history and also who are into academics. I see a good number of students from sociology also here. Thank you so much for coming. The interdisciplinary approach is one area where Sir had put stress. And today, in today's world, today's kind of research, we cannot really do without that. And thank you so much for reminding us on this. Sir had touched on very important and crucial points, which perhaps many people, they would try to shy away from expressing certain very important aspects of that Hill state movement and the creation of Meghalaya. There are certain things which, honestly speaking, I've heard for the first time. Term Kaha Jaiga. I haven't heard that. I haven't really come across that with all my kind of readings. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing that with us. Very important questions are being raised by our colleagues, students also. These are interesting things which one needs to answer for. Just to inform you, we now are having dissertations for the 4th semester, and I think Professor Marco have also taken note of this because he will be looking into the details, and maybe we can encourage some of our students to look into these aspects also. From the Khasi, the Giantess, and the Garos, I'm talking about Meghalaya. We also know that for a very long time there was a sizable number of people which the British have brought to this place because being the headquarters, that's Shillong. So here I'm referring to the Bengalis. So during the Hill State movement, during the movement which APHLC have carried out, do we see the Bengalis also coming and taking part in that? Because you made a reference to the Assam Official Language Act. And I think in that, many people were not comfortable with it. So do we see something like that, the Bengali community is also supported? Did they? And if they did, then what really happened in 1979? The fallout. Can I get this? Can we have a mic? Sir, would you like to give it to us?
That question which was raised by the head of the department, when you teach the students properly, And when they ask you questions, they ask very difficult questions. But I really like them because they become very wiser than their normal students. I think for that question, Dr. Jubilee has already given. I read that in the newspaper in Shillong Times wasn't true. But the contributions of the Bengalis, especially to health politics, especially to the politics of foreign.
I remember reading that, yes.
And I'm sorry, we were actually classmates, so we stick at that level. So you can actually for a copy of that. That copy, that article written by him was so elaborate, and you can get your full answer to that.
I want to understand the second part of the question. The fall of 1979. What really happened? What went wrong with it? Because what really happened in 1979 was very, very bad. But if there was this support, this help which was coming during the movement, what went wrong? So anyway, food for thought. Sir, you don't have to, because you told me that you're not going to. Would you like to say something, sir?
Yes.
Would you like to? That will be very nice, please.
The question raised by the health department opens up new avenues for research, and we would leave it to scholars, and particularly our upcoming research scholars in the Department of History and Political Science, to undertake this study. And those who can read Bangla should find out from the newspapers what were the opinion and participation, if any, in the Hill State movement.
The chairperson for today's program, the head of the department, Professor S.N. Lamare, the main speaker for today, Professor L.S. Gassah, I guess our teacher for many of us. Sir, you have been our teacher. Professor D.R. Siamle, I can definitely say our teacher, mentor, colleagues from the department, colleagues from cognate disciplines, related disciplines, friends. I think you would all agree with me that listening to Professor Gassah is a treat. And especially for the first semesters who have just joined in, there couldn't have been a better exposure to the postgraduate program than to probably have Professor Gassah speaking to us all. And so therefore, without much ado, delivering the vote of thanks, I think, sir, your presence with us is not just a source of encouragement, it's also a continuous process of learning. And so therefore, thank you so much. A storehouse of knowledge. And in the academic circles, I think we probably feel very, very happy and grateful that we can probably have the privilege of having you with us. And you so readily agree. Thank you so much, sir, once again from all of us here, especially from the Department of History. It's only proper that I express my gratitude to our teacher and mentor, Professor David Siamle. Sir, I mean, we can't even imagine a departmental program without you. And despite your schedules, which we know you are very, very busy, we nonetheless probably hope that you will still be with us at every step that we take. Thank you so much for coming to the program, being with us, and as always, encouraging us. I would be failing in my duty if I do not express my gratitude to Professor Prasad, my teacher, our former colleague, and is somebody who's also been extremely encouraging for our efforts, initiatives. And She's been an integral part of the Golden Jubilee celebrations program of the department because for a short stint she was also the head of the department. My gratitude to colleagues from the other cognate and related disciplines. Cognate as in the Department of Sociology, Ma'am Rekha, thank you so much. I think we're gradually waking up to the fact that the domain of knowledge has to be interdisciplinary. And you have no choice. Disciplines like philosophy, disciplines like languages, English, we have Professor Sukalpa here. I think we're gradually taking note of the fact that we are in it all together. All colleagues from the Department of History have been extremely encouraging. My gratitude to all the colleagues. The Professor Lamare has already welcomed you individually. I think it's only fair that I express my gratitude to the colleagues in the department collectively. To the young minds, ignited minds, thank you so much. In fact, the fourth semester, the third semester, I'd be failing in my duty if I do not say this, that they have been at the forefront of organizing this program. Thank you to the president of NEHU History Association and the members for actually coming forward and taking the initiative. History department is like a family, and every batch that comes in and takes on their responsibility only reinforces the claim that we work like a family. Thank you. To the third semesters, to the first semesters, thank you. But since it's your first step with us in a formal program, I think the head of the department would definitely speak to you about, if not anything else, the attendance. And that's at a later time. But thank you so much for all of you who've come here. To the research scholars, I think we cannot do a program in the department without you, because you are as much part of us. Thank you so much for your presence. Once again, I thank all of you present here. And I think, can we actually give a round of applause for Professor L.S.